Hello, and welcome to In The DeNovo. I'm Will Grace, founder and managing director here at DeNovo Treasury, where we empower leaders of community financial institutions entering commercial and industrial banking with expertise for their strategic investment in treasury management products and services. We prioritize the how over the what. We believe in a collaborative journey and go beyond traditional services by actively transferring treasury management expertise to our clients. Thank you for joining us and staying in the know with In The DeNovo.
Hi, everyone. I'm Barbara Kerr. I'm the Senior Manager of Product Support here at DeNovo Treasury, and welcome back to another episode of In The DeNovo. We are thrilled today because we have a featured speaker, featured guest, Brandie Thacker, who is the President and CEO of EPCOR. And we have what we think is going to be a really good conversation today. I'm going to start off just by reading a little formal introduction for Brandie, and I've written that out ahead of time just to be sure I hit the highlights. And from here, we'll just have a very laid-back conversation on a few key topics that will probably be of interest to our viewers. Both Will and Brandie will be able to weigh in as needed. So welcome to you both. This beautiful October day. The rain has finally receded. I'm in Columbus, Ohio. Brandie's in Columbus, and Will is in Detroit, where although he's from Columbus, he's based in Detroit now. So hopefully Will is also having very good fall weather.
Hello, everyone.
Yes. Okay. Well, as I said, this is the only part that's really scripted, and I really wanted to do Brandie justice by making sure I hit the highlights of her career, and then she'll have plenty of opportunity to expand on this. So today, as mentioned, we have Brandie Thacker, who is the President and CEO of EPCOR, and we'll be talking a lot more about EPCOR during the course of this conversation. Brandie is an accomplished professional with a diverse background in the fields of association management, financial services, and business strategy. She thrives on driving positive change and empowering organizations to reach their full potential. She holds an MBA and is an accredited ACH professional and certified association executive, reflecting her commitment to staying at the forefront of industry best practices. After an association career that began at EPCOR in 2007, you had a brief stop at Niche, which is the New England Automatic Clearinghouse. Brandie was selected as the new president and CEO of EPCOR in July 2024, which is fantastic. It's very recent for you, but just know that we extend our congratulations. And on a little interpersonal note, beyond her professional endeavors, she is a passionate advocate for community engagement and social impact. She is actively contributing to initiatives that promote education, diversity, and inclusion, which are values that are very important to DeNovo as well. And on the personal side, she loves spending time and traveling with her husband, Mike, and their daughters, Alice and Georgia. So Brandie, welcome. Very accomplished little intro that we had. We said relatively few words for the amount of prestige and career development that you have. So we're really excited to have you. So from here, there's kind of a chicken and egg. I want to talk about EPCOR and EPCOR's mission. And then I also want to talk about your career trajectory and how the two of you sort of have crossed paths a few times now. So why don't we start with, let's just talk about EPCOR's mission. For our subscribers and viewers that may not be familiar with it, I'd love if you could just talk about EPCOR and payment associations in general.
Sure. Yeah, thank you. And I thank you for that lovely introduction. I don't know that I'll ever get used to hearing that. It's very weird to hear people talk about you when you're sitting right there, but thank you very much. I really appreciate it. EPCOR's mission as a member-based association is really to provide payment systems expertise through our members through education, advice, industry representation. We are the largest of the 9 payments associations in the United States, and we represent over 1,800 member financial institutions, so banks, credit unions, as well as providers of solutions. So think vendors that offer products and services to financial institutions in the payment space, as well as corporates that are users of the payment systems. We support them as well. And we help them in maintaining compliance with the different rules and regulations of the payment systems, helping them to improve operational efficiencies, to address risk and fraud and how to mitigate that. And this is for all payment systems. So think check, card, wire, ACH, instant payments, which we'll be talking more about today, And we do that through a variety of ways, mostly through educational opportunities, through publications, online resources, audits, risk assessments, consulting services. And then we have an amazing staff of payment systems experts that have just a myriad of certifications and initials behind their names that requires ongoing continuing education so that they can keep our staff and our members up to breast on the latest happenings and changes in the payment systems. So while we're not a lobbying organization as a trade association, we're a 501c6, so we don't lobby, but we do serve on a variety of different committees and work groups to help foster improvements of the payment system. But then also when there's things like requests for comment or requests for information out for different rules or regulatory changes, we go out, ask our members what they think, and then we gather all that information and bring it to the forefront of those groups so that our members' collective voices are heard.
That's fantastic. And I didn't actually pre-supply you with this question, but I think it would be a good opportunity for you to say what the criteria for an institution would be to be able to join EPCOR. If you could talk about that quickly.
Sure. We do not discriminate. We love and will accept any and all financial institutions in the United States. But traditionally, in the PA space, you have a footprint that you operate in. We're mostly within the Midwest. So we go as far west as Nebraska. We're over east into Pennsylvania, down south into Arkansas. But really, any size financial institution, there's no organization too small or too large to benefit from the different services and opportunities that EPCOR has to offer.
That's great. And we'll be sharing this information. We'll probably link it in any show notes, but your website is epcor.org. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Great. I would encourage anybody watching, if you're not familiar with EPCOR or want to know more, go check that out because there's a lot of really good information out there. So we started with EPCOR. It's kind of a chicken and egg thing, but I'd love for you to talk about your career trajectory. You've crossed paths with EPCOR a few times and kind of what led you to where you are today in this current role.
Yeah, absolutely. So my career mostly is EPCOR. I've grown up at this association. Honestly, I started off in payments in 2007 at Payment Central. It was the Ohio-based payments association as a trainer. I had zero banking experience, barely could spell ACH, but decided I needed a change, and this is where I was going to go. So I traveled around for about 2 years, educating our member banks and credit unions on mostly ACH at the time. And then we merged with the association out of Kansas City called MPX, or Mid-America Payment Exchange, to create EPCOR in 2009. At that time, when we merged, the CEO, Anne-Marie Bartels, looked at my background and my educational history. She's like, you're a communications and marketing person. What are you doing training? I said, well, that was the job that was open. So that's what I took. And she was like, well, that's great. And you can still do it, but help build out a communications department. And that was really my focus for the next several years, was growing our marketing, our communications, our website, adding on some graphic design, and then eventually brought on the member support team into our larger team. So that was really focusing on member recruitment, retention, engagement, industry relations, as well as the communications and marketing. And then in, I think it was late teens, 2016, became vice president and was on the leadership team. So worked alongside the board, helping to set the strategic direction of the organization and working with the team to set those initiatives. And that was my focus then, as well as going around and attending different industry events and speaking at conferences, and left very briefly in December to go to NEACH, so the association in New England, to work with a friend of mine, Sean Carter. And I focused on running their for-profit subsidiary, which was their consulting services, audits, and risk assessments. And this opportunity came up. So in July, came back home to the team here, and it's just been full steam ahead ever since.
You know, that's really amazing, considering your background doesn't sound like it was finance or, economics or banking or anything. It really is the classic, not really starting in the mailroom, but just for the purposes of analogy, it's extremely inspiring, and you should be very proud of yourself. So you've only been in the CEO role for about 2.5 months now. How is that going? How is it feeling?
Oh my goodness. It's been a whirlwind, but of all good things, right? So the energy of the team, of the staff, of our members, the board, it's been great. It's been this huge welcome home like roadshow for the last several weeks. But it's been super busy. We had, in my first 6 weeks, we had a board strategic planning meeting. We had an all staff meeting in Kansas City, which was perfect timing to be with the staff in person. And then I met individually with each of our 40, which is crazy to believe now, 40 staff members, just to kind of level set where they were since I had left. So that was the first 6 weeks. And now it's full on conference mode and 2025 strategic planning and budget. So I'm very thankful that I did work here for so long, because I didn't have the traditional onboarding of finding out who the players are and who works for whom and who's our board and who our members and what our products and services are. I had already had that pretty much under control, so I could really just start working and getting some initiatives up and running. But it's been great.
Well, not to mention learning a company's culture and just the feel and how people interact. I mean, that can really take some time. And so having that knowledge too, I'm sure has been a real asset. Well, I kind of want to segue at this point into talking about EPCOR and DeNovo Treasury working together. So we have sort of a very special relationship. Will has a long-standing relationship with EPCOR, and I'm going to deviate a little from sort of the outline of things we wanted to talk about to lead to the next question. So what I'd like to do, Will, if you could take a few moments and talk about your history with EPCOR, and then I'd love to really delve into this joint partnership that we literally days ago had a press release about our combined services. So Will, why don't you give a little background on your history with EPCOR, and then we'll talk about the instant payments joint venture.
Yeah, it's very exciting, for one. Two, my history with EPCOR goes back to pre-EPCOR, pre-Payments Central, to an organization called Crafts. And I started in ACH in 1996, which makes me pretty much a relic at this point. And I took my first ACH exam in 1998. And that was through, at that time, it was Payments Central. And I think there were maybe 5 staff members at Payments Central at that time. And Brandie might have been the 6th or 7th by the time that she joined. Is that true? Was it 6 or 7?
So we had Jerry, Tim, Jen, Stephanie, and Becky. So I was 6.
Yeah, you were number 6. I was like counting here on my notepad. I was like, I think you were number 6.
I was.
So Payments Central, in 2002, I joined an operations committee. Then I was leading a payments committee. And by 2006, I was on the board. So I've had a large number of years experience. And then when the organizations combined, I had left briefly because I went to another financial institution, and there was another team member who was on the board. So I was involved in other ways. But in 2011, I rejoined the board as I'd gone back to another role, and was on the board through the end of 2016. And so I've had a rich history with EPCOR. And when I started DeNovo Treasury, my banking career has also been in the same footprint. And so my network, my banking career, my time on the EPCOR board, it was just very natural for the company to also be calling on the same financial institutions, same size financial institutions. It was just a very natural fit. So from a strategic perspective, EPCOR was in my sights from the very beginning to trying to get into some type of an arrangement. So this is a very, this is a great achievement for us to be able to say that we've accomplished this. And so Brandie and team is, as she knows, we're very excited about this, and it's been a great journey to finally, get this taken care of. So
let's talk
that's
about what
kind of part of the
this
journey.
is.
Yes. Let's talk about what this is. Yes.
Brandie, would you like to summarize for us this new joint venture between EPCOR and DeNovo Treasury? If you don't want to, Will can do it, but I'll ask you first.
No, that's fine. I'll kick it off. What's really interesting and cool about this is, one, being able to work alongside Will, because I've known him ever since I started in payments, and he's always been a great colleague, mentor, and friend of mine. So this is exciting just personally. But also, this started actually when I was gone. So this is something that Will had worked on with members of my leadership team. So Chris Richardson and Nicole Payne, who heads up consulting, before like I said, when I was at Nietzsche. So when I came back, it was honestly all tied up in a nice ribbon. So all I had to do was just sign off. So I literally did not do any of the work for this. So I'll go ahead and let Will fill in.
That's a fair statement. I don't know if that's a fair statement.
Well,
you still had to massage the board some.
You did a
There's
lot
still
of
some
the
work to do.
Yeah.
No,
let's be sure though,
to
Will,
be fair,
if you could talk about just the nature of the joint venture. I don't think we've clearly articulated that, just for any viewers.
Absolutely.
Please give the elevator speech, and then you can give your color commentary.
Yes. So we are offering a jointly marketed and jointly offered instant payments enablement service. And what we found was that EPCOR is has an awesome back office product that they had in the market, where they focus on preparing financial institutions for going to market with risk and compliance and audit, and preparing the financial institution for getting ready to be able to process and be able to accept and send instant payments. And DeNovo Treasury had a process of helping financial institutions with a strategic go-to-market, what use cases and where does that fit in my payment mix, and how does it look from a strategy perspective with the other things I have going on in treasury management. And so it was more on a business side of things. And we found that bringing those two things together rounded out a very nice engagement for our financial institutions that were looking to do this. We both had pieces of it, and we found that when we brought it together, it just rounded out very nicely.
So the sum of our parts is greater than the individual pieces.
I would say so. Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
Will is the peanut butter to our jelly.
There you go. And so we had some early success with testing this with a financial institution that actually had kind of figured that out on their own. Independently, we had both bid on a piece of business with a financial institution that had said, wow, we really like what DeNovo is offering here, and we really like what EPCOR is offering here. Would you consider working together? And we had actually had some talks about where there were some gaps in what EPCOR was offering in the market from a treasury management perspective, and where DeNovo was trying to look at, hey, how could we help EPCOR members with some other things? And so this was a very natural fit when we had a client recognize this need. And so that worked out pretty well.
And so going forward, this is certainly not an infomercial of any kind, but because we have just launched this, if anyone from any financial institution is watching and they're interested in the nuts and bolts of how this works, certainly you could reach out to either party. But really, the idea is if someone does want to start with instant payment enablements, whether they reach out to DeNovo Treasury or whether they reach out to EPCOR as what they're thinking is their ultimate partner in this journey, we will be working together as two institutions/companies to get that across the line. Because as you mentioned, we sort of have had a part of it going, EPCOR had another part of it going, and together it's just really this powerhouse to help these financial institutions get instant payments across the line and implemented. So it's very exciting. So some of the things that I had just as notes that I wanted to talk about how the partnership came about which we've sort of touched on, but let's talk about the importance of instant payments. Just in general, Brandie, let's hear from you first, and then Will can kind of round out any industry knowledge with additional information.
Sure. I mean, this is right on topic, and it's interesting that we're having this conversation today. I literally just got back from the U.S. Faster Payments Council's fall member meeting. So this whole week has been everything about instant payments from all different viewpoints, talking about where we are with adoption with related to FedNow, the Federal Reserve's product, the clearinghouse's RTP product, that's been in the market several more years than FedNow, and looking at different use cases, fraud mitigation, because I know in our membership, whenever we try to talk about instant payments, one of the first questions is fraud and how can that be addressed. But looking at merchant perspectives and vendor perspectives. So it was really a great meeting the last couple of days. But from just a general perspective, instant payments, it's a great way for financial institutions to differentiate themselves in the market right now from a competitive perspective, but offering services to their client base just to increase efficiencies, if you're thinking from a business perspective, to streamline their operations, to improve cash flow, for the underserved market, providing financial access to them by providing faster payments options. It can address time-sensitive payments. If you think about what's going on right now with our friends in the southern United States, unfortunately, dealing with the aftermath of the hurricane and getting those emergency transfers, P2P payments, bill payments. I mean, there's a variety of different use cases for this new rail or way of paying that we haven't had since the 70s. That really also brings us, when you look at the European countries, our peers, we've been so far behind that it's an exciting time in payments. But Will, what would you add to that?
Yeah, what I would add to that is, the financial institutions that we serve, a lot of them in the lower end, that I'll say, let's say in the, 50 million to $5 billion space, that might think that they don't have a need for this because their business customers might not be asking for it. There's two things I'd like to point out when it comes to that. One, for years, the Venmos of the world and the digital wallets of the world have been holding on to transactions that basically could become deposits that these financial institutions could be holding on to if they had this type of service. So basically, you've got all these wallets out there that are holding on to these funds that if they had a real-time payment type solution, that rather than somebody using a Venmo type, a business even now using those type of things, could be using a real-time payment type solution. So that's one thing I want to point out to clients like that. The second thing is they talk about, well, my customers aren't asking for it. Yes, they might not know to use the words real-time payments or faster payments or instant payments, but all the things that Brandie just pointed out, all those needs that she just mentioned, those are the things that they're going to bring to their banker, to their branch. They're going to say things like, hey, I would like to have security to know that when I drop off these products or goods or services that I can assure that the payment is being received right now. And maybe because of the size of my business or because of other economic situations, I don't want to use one of these other payment items or payment systems. I want to use something that is through my trusted partner, my financial institution. And that's what FedNow and RTP instant payments allow you to do.
That's great. And as you were talking, I think you kind of answered my question as it was coming to my mind. There are probably two ways that these financial institutions get on board with implementing this. One is they actively say, hey, we want this, whether or not they're trying to get out in front of the demand or they've had some inquiries about it from their clients or customers. And so they proactively come to you. But as we jointly sort of go out into the marketplace, try to educate people, try to spread the word on this, there is going to be a certain amount of, hey, you may not be thinking about this, but you will have to think about it eventually. So we can help them get out in front of it. And I think both ways certainly have merit. And it's nice that we're in a position to be able to do this.
Yeah, and when this was introduced in 2017, when the clearinghouse introduced RTP, it was the first new payment rail in almost 40 years. This is this is pioneering territory. This is you know this is something that hasn't happened, and so we have to get out and educate. But it's going to become commonplace, just like the ACH. So the financial institutions are going to need to get this up and running at some point. Now, the nice thing about this is that there are plenty of solutions out there to connect to both of these rails, and the Fed and the clearinghouse did a great job of working together in both situations, even though they created two solutions, and making sure that they were common and they used common language. And the providers have done a good job of making it seamless in being able to get to both rails, which is different than we've seen in the past with ACH and Wire, where the providers had different standards and different processes for accessing them. So it's a lot more seamless. There's a lot less friction, and there's providers that are willing to help you get to that. So that's the thing I think that's a lot different with this than it has in the past with some of the other payment mechanisms that we've had. That makes it easier for financial institutions to get up and running today.
So is there any value in the course of this web series to talk about the difference between instant payments, faster payments, and real-time payments? That may be something that everyone watching already knows. But like you, Brandie, I spent 35 years in IT. Banking is not my field. So I tend to ask very basic questions. And if we feel that this is a topic we don't need to address, I'm fine. But I thought I'd bring it up because it seemed applicable.
No, I think that's a good question to ask. And I still think, I don't know, Will, about you, but depending on who you ask in the marketplace, you might get a different answer. Sometimes individuals will swap faster payments, instant payments, immediate payments. They're all kind of bucketed into just anything that's faster than, say, maybe ACH. But I will also say you have same day ACH. If you look at same day ACH, that is technically a faster payment. It's
Sure.
not coming 2 or 3 days later than it possibly could from previous years when you put it into the system. But from a real time or an instant payments perspective, you're looking at the payments messaging and the actual settlement of the funds occurring within seconds. I have yet to see a definition of what this amount of seconds should be, but it's near real time, almost instantaneously. So Barb, you get a message that I'm sending you $25 and it's actually hitting your financial institutions and your specific account. You can go and take that $25 almost instantly that I send to you.
I think we should actually demonstrate this so I know for sure that it works. Happy to.
Can we raise and probably raise the amount from $25?
Yes.
Too?
Yeah.
Let's make it a real amount, $1 million.
The real-time payment standard is 15 seconds, but it happens within milliseconds.
Yeah.
And very rarely would you see something going longer than that. And so all instant payments are faster, but not all faster payments are instant or real time. And that's kind of how it goes. So the only true instant payments are Fed now and real-time payments. Yes, there are other faster payment mechanisms. So same day ACH is considered faster. There's MasterCard Send and Visa Direct. Those are considered faster payments. But because they settle within hours or within minutes. But unless it's instant, meaning within seconds, which is what FedNow and RTP do, they're not considered instant payments. So that's my understanding of the way that this works. So not all faster payments are real time, but all real time payments are faster. If that makes sense.
That makes sense.
That's clear as mud, right?
It's very clear.
It made sense to me. So I'm the what I hear in this field. No, that's very helpful. Thank you for taking a step back while we fill in some of those knowledge gaps.
Yeah, and we do have, I'll plug a couple of our interviews from the past. We have had Steve Ledford, the godfather of real-time payments, on, and he will define that. We've also had Elspeth a blood good from Jack Henry, who also is a queen of real-time payments, and so they give some pretty good definitions on these things as well. If you want to go to some prior episodes on folks that are much smarter about this than I am.
No, that's great. And all of these episodes can be found on the DeNovo Treasury website, which will take you then to YouTube links if you want to go look that up. So we've sort of talked about this, but one of the talking points I wanted to make sure that we really vetted here: what resources does EPCOR have for their members, and how are you helping members prepare if they aren't participating already in the realm of instant payments?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. So outside of the service, being a membership-based organization that really focuses on education, we have a variety of educational opportunities and training with regard to faster payments or instant payments. Whether that be, we have an instant payments symposium we offer, we have webinars, on-demand training sessions. Some of them are more broad on faster payments in general. They become more targeted if you want to know more about FedNow, or if you want to know more about RTP through the clearinghouse. EPCOR is also a supporter of the AFPP, or the Accredited Faster Payments Professional certification that Notch is rolling out next year, as well as the Precursor Certificate program. So we have that live now. I believe it's 3 modules that our members can take. They sit through those, they take a test at the end, and they get a certificate. We have a dedicated staff person. Her name's Sharon Hallmark. She is solely focused on what's going on in faster payments, keeping our members and our staff really up to date on the latest changes, latest developments. We have resources on our website. And as I mentioned earlier, we are queued into a variety of different committees and work groups and councils like the Faster Payments Council, just to keep abreast on the latest industry developments.
So it sounds like if somebody's a member of EPCOR, they know they're really not ready to go down the path of instant payment enablement. Maybe they're just starting. Maybe they truly don't know the intricacies of such, implementing such a program, and they really just want to educate themselves. You have plenty of resources available. And then if and when down the road, whenever that is, they are then armed with the knowledge they need to be able to go into it and fully understand what they're taking on with an instant payments enablement. That's great.
Mm-hmm.
Will, did you have anything to add here? I know that was kind of an EPCOR centric question, but I just wanted to see if you had anything you wanted to add on that topic. If not, that's okay.
I would just continue to plug EPCOR's education, and I think they do a great job of educating their members on all things payments, but certainly instant payments is one of those areas, and I would send our clients there to get their education on it as well.
And so if and when somebody is ready to embark, it's available as of now, as of today. So we're ready to go. And as I mentioned earlier, this is a joint venture. We are very much partnering on this. So regardless, if you are interested in this, whether you reach out to DeNovo Treasury or whether you reach out to EPCOR, sort of all roads lead to Rome, and we're a united front in helping institutions implement this and be educated on it. Is there anything else we want to say on the topic of this joint venture or our instant payments enablement before I move on to sort of just the next topic? I think we've done a good job, but I just wanted to make sure everyone had a forum if they wanted to get anything else.
Yeah, no, I think I would just say that, regardless of where you are in that journey, we're here to help with preparing you for it. And, the tools that with EPCOR and DeNovo Treasury combined will prepare you for that enablement to get you ready to take instant payments to the market. And that's the beauty of what we're doing together, is you get that back office preparedness, as well as how do I take what I'm doing in the back office and from a business perspective, how do I get ready then to market this, and what are the businesses that I want to target and use cases that I want to target. It's kind of all in one wrapper, as we mentioned in the beginning. So wherever you are in that evolution, you're not quite sure which network you should connect with or both, we're ready to have that conversation with you. Even if you don't know exactly which provider you should go with. Should I go with my core? Should I go with some outside provider? We can help with those discussions in this enablement service.
I'm really glad you said that because, again, I will mention again that banking and finance is not my background, but because I've been a part of developing some of these materials, things that we give to clients as we walk them through the journey of implementing this, everything really made sense to me. I love that everything is very clear cut. Obviously, it's you need to have some real depth of industry knowledge to walk through this, but customers, anyone who wants to go down this path, they get everything they need. Every step of the way, there is support. So as Will mentioned and Brandie alluded to, there's the conceptual information, just the industry knowledge, the general topics and the principles that you need to understand. But then what do you do with that? You can have a lot of knowledge, but not know how to take the next step. And all of these implementation materials are very clear. And we really do hold hands with anyone interested in going on this journey. So they're not left hanging. They're not alone. We're a united front in getting them across the finish line. So I think that's very refreshing because so few things in life are actually like that. It's a good thing. Well, the last topic.
Hey, Barb.
Yeah, go ahead.
The great thing about it is that there is something for everyone in every group at the financial institution in this.
Yes.
Compliance, finance, risk, legal, technology, operations, treasury,
Marketing,
management. There is something for everyone, and they all come to the table. And there's an exercise for each one of them that will be impactful, that will help prepare them. That's the beauty of it. And EPCOR has some really nice tools and really nice exercises they put the financial institution through that make them really think about, oh, I didn't think about this particular piece of thing of preparedness. That's what's really great about it. And then on the strategic side, it's like, oh, I didn't think about how we might go to market with this piece of it and so on. So it's a really well-rounded experience for our customers.
Totally agree. Well, the last broad topic that we have for today, and then we certainly will leave room for anything that anyone wants to discuss or delve into, but Brandie, let's just talk about what's next for EPCOR. I do hope that we certainly mentioned the conference, which is coming up next week. But beyond that, anything for EPCOR and anything for you personally or professionally that you want to sort of tout?
Yeah, very excited for the conference next week. As I said, when you can get together, everybody in a room, the energy is just palpable. So it's one of my favorite things, one of my favorite times of the year, to get out and network with our members, our friends of the family, even our staff. So excited about that for next week. For us as an organization, we're really just putting the finishing touches on what our 2025 plan of work is. And we have some pretty exciting initiatives next year for our members. We're rolling out a whole new AMS or management system, which is a way for our members to interact with us, a new website to hopefully improve their just user experience. We're going to have a plethora of new educational offerings, new bundles to hopefully make the purchase process easier for our members, new consulting services, such as this one that we're doing with DeNovo, more strategic alliances. We have another partnership we just rolled out with Identify, which is more on AI, and they're now AI powered version of the NACHA operating rules. And then we're using that actually as an organization to increase our efficiencies, which will free up some more time for our staff to develop some new products and services for our members, and really come together more as a staff next year. The majority of us are actually remote workers, so we're really putting a focus on our culture as a team to get together and interact more in person, because as I said, that energy is palpable. It makes the culture fun, and we always walk away with more innovative ideas when we're just all in a room together. And then for me, it's keeping all the balls in the air. So making sure our staff's well supported, making sure that our members have everything that they need in the best way that we can possible. And then for me, it's being a great partner, wife for my husband, and being around for my girls. They're at super fun ages. They're 5 and almost 8. We're going to Disney right after the conference. So pray for me that we're all still smiling and love each other when we come back.
So what do you do with all your
But,
free time? No, I'm kidding.
there's no such thing. There's no such thing as free time. But I'm excited. There's just so many different things to look forward to next year. So a lot of excitement ahead.
And I do want to just fully say that the conference we're alluding to is Monday through Wednesday next week in
Yes.
Overland Park, Kansas, which is the Kansas City area. It's sponsored by EPCOR. DeNovo Treasury is a featured exhibitor, and it's called PaymentsPalooza, which is exciting. So all of this information can be found on the EPCOR website. But if you are there, we would love to have you stop by and say hi. We're really excited about it. Will's been several times to an EPCOR conference. This will be my first time, so I'm really looking forward to it.
We will be happy to have you there. It's going to be a good time.
Yes. Will, do you have anything you want to say about the conference, or please let's talk about DeNovo Treasury's involvement in that, or anything personally? I'm looking forward to meeting a lot of people I've only met virtually, so that's going to be great.
Sure. Always looking forward to EPCOR conferences. They're always a great networking opportunity and great time to reconnect with folks. Other than that, we're excited about this partnership, this joint venture. We've rolled out obviously the instant payments enablement service recently, this week. DeNovo has also recently rolled out our documentation services. That's a new service that we're offering in our fee analysis and optimization service. So we've had some new things coming around. So we're excited about that. Yeah.
Well,
That's
we
it.
are sort of right at 45 minutes. This has been a very good use of time. Those were all the topics that I wanted to be sure we hit on today. Will, I will start with you. Do you have any, I know you just spoke, if you have any parting words, and then I'll ask Brandie and we'll wrap up.
I would just say that we appreciate Brandie being here today
so much.
It's exciting to see her journey. I've known her since 2007, and I've seen her grow up in this role, and I'm so proud of her to see that she's gotten to this place. And then it's great now that we get to have this joint venture together. So that's what I'd say.
Brandie, any parting words from you?
No, I can't top that. That was very, very kind, and I totally agree. Very much looking forward to this joint venture together, and hopefully just working together even more as the years come by.
And I will just say, from my perspective, obviously I work with Will. I work for DeNovo Treasury. I have had from the very start a lot of interpersonal engagement with EPCOR, mostly Nicole Payne at this point, but I've talked to several other people. And one thing I love about your organization is people are just really approachable. People are really human. You never feel like you're dealing with some faceless corporation. It's very personable. It's very people focused. And anytime that we've had to interact, it's always just been the most pleasant experience. And I think that's a rare thing in any workplace. When I would think about banking, I wouldn't expect that necessarily to be the case, but it's just been such a positive thing. And we're very excited about continuing our partnership in a more formal way.
I love that. Thanks for sharing that, Barb. Appreciate that.
Yeah, for sure. And that is 1,000% sincere. That is not fluff. That is not smoke. That is just very much, it's a very nice thing to be able to have that, because a lot of people don't. So, well, I think that concludes our episode today. Brandie, thank you profusely. We have really enjoyed this. I think this is a great episode. And certainly anyone watching, if you have any questions about this or any other services that either EPCOR or DeNovo Treasury provides, we'd love to talk to you about it. But hopefully you got a lot out of this episode. And until next time, have a great month.
Thanks for tuning into this episode of In The DeNovo. For more content like the video we shared today, check out our website at denovotreasury.com and our YouTube channel at DeNovo Treasury. Thanks, and see you next time.